meeting of the Metro Tourism and Convention Commission to order. If you are watching this recording and are interested in a comment or writing a story, please contact Bonna Johnson. Her email is Bonna, B-O-N-N-A, at visitmusiccity.com. And next we have roll call. Mark Hayes.
Present.
Sherry Franklin.
Present.
Dr. Sybil Brown is out of town today. Derek Free.
Present.
Neely Glenn.
Present.
Robert Higgins.
Present.
Hugh Taylor.
Present.
And Brittany Chandler.
Present.
Outstanding. So we have almost a full complement, but we certainly have a quorum. So I would like to open the meeting to public comment period. We do have one person signed up to speak. And if he'll come here, James Morrison with Mortensen Development and Construction. And maybe you could introduce yourself here and we'll share the mic. How's that sound?
Yeah, I can speak loud. Hey, good morning, everybody. James Morrison with Mortensen Development and Construction. We're an active hotel developer and builder in town. We are currently developing and building the Motto by Hilton Hotel on 3rd Avenue. It's 260 keys, and thank you for allowing me to sit in.
Great,
Thanks.
Great, well, welcome. We're glad to have you here. All right. And as he was the only person for public comment, we'll close the public comment period. Persons who write their names on the sign-up sheet provided at the meeting will be allowed to comment on matters that are germane to items on the agenda. Provide comment, you must sign up prior to the beginning of the meeting and only during the public comment period. All right. Everybody's had a chance to review the minutes from our previous meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes. Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Let's see, how about the financial report?
Thank you very much. This might come through, might not. But 9 months into our fiscal year, we're pleased to report that the year is going well financially and we're on track to meet all of our budget goals for the year. Hotel tax collections received by Metro have been reported through the month of February at this point, and the tax collections through those 8 months continue to be strong with a total received of just over $95 million. A portion of that which is dedicated to tourism promotion of $27.5 million is within 2% of the prior year total and exceeds the CVC's expense reimbursements through the following month of March, actually. 4 of the 8 months currently reported set new record highs for collections for that particular month, with October setting a new all-time record high for hotel tax collections in any month in the history of the city. So it's the year is continuing to go well. In looking at the financial summary that you have, you see that the total amount allocated by the CVC to our Metro contract for the 9 months ended in March was just over $24 million. As you know, the hotel taxes do not come directly to the CVC. We're only reimbursed for the actual expenses which are incurred in the promotion of the city. So there's no surplus or profit that comes to the CVC through any Metro sources. Total revenue for the period from all sources was just over $30 million, including the additional $6 million in revenue that the CVC raised from other sources to supplement our Metro contract funding. On the expense side, our activities are progressing very much as anticipated. There have been no unexpected or unusual events that have taken place this year, and the overall trends reflect spending running below budget in total. We've now completed our largest events of the year and most of our trade show activities, so those expenses are mostly in the books already. The primary discretionary program spending during the final quarter will be in the areas of advertising, website development, and supporting the new direct international flights from BNA. So again, in summary, the year is performing well financially, and we're on track to meet or exceed our budget targets. If anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to try to address those.
Outstanding, Jeff. Thank you for those numbers. Are there any questions? All right, we will entertain a motion to approve the financials as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Derek. Second? Second, thank you, Brittany. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Bruce, you have a research report for us?
I do. So today I'll brief you all on the results so far of our spring travel season to date. I'll walk you through hotel and short-term rental results and discuss how things are pacing through the summer. I'll also have the latest hotel and visitor forecast for the full year 2025. This forecast does factor in the recent volatility we're seeing in the economy, but we're still seeing positive growth predicted for Nashville. Here is March results for the hotels. Even though a 2% increase in hotel supply, Davidson County's overall occupancy rate in March inched up by 1.5%, landing in at 71.8%. Rooms sold grew by a hearty 3.6%. RevPAR was up by 3.9%, leading to a strong 6% increase in room revenues year over year. Several factors played into the role here. We had the shift of the Easter holiday. The prior year it was on March 31st. This year it was late in April. Spring leisure travel was very strong in the month, and group business picked up thanks to multiple conventions we had, citywide conventions. For example, if you look at the week of the 23rd through the 29th, there were 5 conventions in town at Music City Center and the Gaylord. Those range from the American Pharmacists Association, which had about 1,800 peak room nights. And then we had a large-scale cheer championship at the Gaylord, and that was 6,500 peak room nights. With all that for that week, it put Nashville 4th in occupancy ratings if you look at the top 25 hotel markets. For perspective, for the rest of the month, with occupancy rankings in the top 25, we were in the teens. Here are April results, not as robust as March. Again, calling back to the Easter shift, that holiday on the 20th was the really big reason why. Occupancy rates were down 3.9%, but still 71.8% occupancy of hotel rooms. The county now has 41,500 rooms in the inventory, and that was a 2.5% increase for April. Demand of hotel rooms was down about 1.5%. Hotel rates ticked down as well. The average daily rate was down 4% to $207 in the county. And with all that, that pushed down our room revenues by 5.6%. With that said, I would argue a fair way to view the spring performance so far is combining March and April. And these are the numbers that you see on the screen. So that accounts for the Easter holiday shift, and it evens out better. March through April, hotel demand saw an increase of about 1%, and room revenue was flat. Now, given all the cloud of this economic uncertainty going on in the market nationally, making consumers and businesses hesitant to maybe travel, gives you some perspective that for our market, Nashville, being flat relatively is a win for us. Next up, I'll go into short-term rentals. They're certainly rising in popularity nationwide, and that's being seen in our county numbers as well. Listing room nights sold through the spring, March, and April was up 4.7%. Taxable lodging revenues from short-term rentals like Airbnbs was up 2.8% for this 2-month period. There are over 9,300 listings now countywide. 47% of those are large listings in that they are 3 or more bedrooms. Leisure travelers that have small groups, a family group or friends, find it now more economical to maybe book a 3-bedroom house as the alternative to booking 3 separate hotel rooms. There's added benefits of shared common space, a kitchen, to lessen the costs of dining out.
Bruce, may I ask one quick question?
Sure.
Just understanding demand, 304,000
Those are room nights.
room nights.
Yes.
Okay.
So listings could be for a long period of time, but then it does do the math for you to show how many of those are room nights to give you kind of a hotel comparison.
Okay, thank you.
Room nights, number of rooms, nights consumed.
And the 25,000 for the supply is the number of
Nights
nights
available.
available.
Yes. Now, each of those dots is where there are condos or houses located throughout the county.
They're really spread out.
They are all over.
Right, hotel.
All right, next up, what's gonna happen next? So we have, through TravelClick, hotel occupancy pacing. So this is through TravelClick's aggregated of looking at hotel reservations and their systems of data. So overall, May through July, we're pacing relatively up with bookings year over year, and this data was captured how we're pacing as of May 7th. And then now you see a slowdown in August. So just like we experienced that flip-flop of March and April, this summer we could see July being up and August being down year over year, a reverse of what happened with last year's summer. The good news is that we already have some of May already actualized, the first 2 weeks of May, which were very positive. And why it was positive was demand drivers that were going on in the city. Major events, and it was graduation season. We had Metallica here for 2 nights performing at Nissan Stadium. Theo Von performed at Bridgestone, the comedian. Marriott had a large convention at the Music City Center, as well as conventions at the Gaylord. And as I said, it was grad weekend and that first weekend of May for Belmont, Tennessee State, and Lipscomb.
And Pearl Jam. 2 nights.
That was the following week, which I'll get
Oh,
into.
was it?
Yes. Hold on.
Hold on. Okay.
Even with the first part of May, that Saturday, May 3rd, hotel occupancy in the county was 93%. So if you look at downtown, which is 13,850 rooms, it was at 98.6%. So virtually all the rooms in downtown were full on that Saturday. And then the downtown average rates were at 404.
So that was Metallica.
That was
Right.
Metallica. So then if you look at last week, which was May 4th through 10th, weekly demand was up 9.5%. There were 2 conventions in town, one at Music City Center and one at the Gaylord. It was those 2 nights of Pearl Jam, which were Tuesday and Thursday. So we saw a pop in the first part of the week. Then we had Savannah Bananas. They sold out Nissan Stadium, 70,000 were there. And then to top it off, it was Vanderbilt's graduation weekend. What's up ahead is Memorial Day weekend. And from what we're seeing, the AAA is already forecasting a record weekend for travel. So they're looking at 45 million Americans traveling at least 50 miles from their homes. And they're looking at that would surpass a record held back in 2005 at 44 million. So a lot of drive market over the Memorial Day weekend is anticipated. Part of that is gas prices have come down a little bit. So looking at Memorial Day weekend, our TravelClick data shows that Friday, May 23rd, we're pacing up 27% in the county. And that Saturday, we're pacing up 6%. Moving ahead through the summer, so you have CMA Fest, 90,000 attendees. On that Friday, June 6th, we're pacing up about 11% for CMA Fest. On that Saturday, we're pacing up 3%, which is good because last year was very good numbers for CMA Fest. So what you can see here is certain evidence that we had the last 2 years. Major events in the city are like a rocket booster for our hotel.
How does Sunday of CMA look?
Have to go back and get that for you.
Okay.
I think it's down a little bit. But that Thursday is doing very well.
The concerts for that are Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and
And
Sunday.
And Sunday,
Sunday.
4
Yeah,
days.
they just had one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Who is it this year? I don't know.
So I don't remember.
No, that's the first one.
Darius Rucker's Thursday
Right.
night, I think
Is the last.
Are you all doing obligations, like a minimum or minimum for?
typically we do, yeah.
3 or 2, has that dropped?
3. 3. But now we're just trying to fill it.
I've got one more slide for you. This is our annual forecast. Tourism economics for Davidson County, they're anticipating to welcome 17.3 million visitors. That'll be an increase this year versus last year of 2.5% visitors. 67% of those visitors, so that's 11.5 million, are staying overnight, so they're overnight visitors. Of those overnight visitors, 35% are classified as group or business visitors. And that'll grow year over year just by 0.7%. Leisure visitation, so the other 65% of our overnight visitors, that's expected to grow by about 3% this year. The projections further indicate about 8 million visitors are staying in our hotels, and those 8 million visitors are consuming 10 million room nights in the year. And of those 10 million room nights, that's going to generate $2 billion in room revenue. And all of those visitors, they're traveling from at least 50 miles away. They're going to spend $11.49 billion this year at our member hotels, restaurants, and attractions. That's anticipated to be about a 3% increase year over year. An easier way to digest that spend number is if you average it out per day, they're spending $31.5 million in Music City each day. So despite all the market headwinds, Nashville year over year is still seeing a growth on the horizon. It's down a little bit than what was once predicted for this year, but still in the positive despite the trade war that's going on, that's causing business and consumer financial uncertainty if you look at the latest survey data. That said, this doesn't tarnish Nashville at all. It's a very highly popular travel destination. The sentiment data is showing that in our recent surveys. We are very perceived by our visitors to be very fun, welcoming, and safe. That's certainly what you want to be. Any questions?
Can I ask a quick question
Sure.
on the visitor spending? Is it fair to say that visitor spending, the 11.49 that's projected, you subtract the 2.05 from hotel and say the rest is retail spending? Or how would I get to that number?
I can share with you data. They do break it up by different categories and what they're spending on lodging or dining or transportation.
Okay.
So it breaks up. I don't know I don't have the exact numbers off the top of my head, but I can get those for you.
Okay, thank you.
And transportation would include airfare,
And it's
rental
factored
car.
in as a visitor how they are spending on their travel.
Okay.
Motor coaches.
Motor coaches, you were not.
And these projections are coming from Tourism Economics, but around August, we'll get the final numbers, the results from last
Yeah,
year.
the state does an assessment of each county.
Thank you.
Sure.
Is there data breaking out international, like presumable downturn and domestic?
I can address the
offset?
international question. Would you like me to address it?
Sure.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have it in the report.
I can give you broad strokes.
Okay.
There's certainly evidence with all the trade wars that are going down that we're going to see a decline this year. Nationally, Tourism Economics predicts about 9% decline in international visitation to the U.S. They have done numbers and they're updating these quarterly. For Nashville, we could see about a 15% decrease in international visitation versus last year.
So exceeding the national.
Yes.
It's because Canada
Canada
is our
represents.
number one market,
Gotcha.
50% of our international visitors.
And Canada is going to be down about 23%. That's what they're predicting right now.
Wow. Okay.
And that's a national trend. And a lot of the border cities of the U.S. are more impacted. So that also kind of goes into this to analysis is that we are somewhat insulated and that we don't have a large share of our visitors like a New York, Los Angeles, or Atlanta that are really reliant upon international visitation.
And it is all relative because it is a smaller percentage of our visitors. I still think Nashville is going to do better than most destinations. I think what we offer and the fun and the music and the events and what Canadians love about being here, I think they're still going to come. I think CMA Fest will still do well out of Canada. We were at an event last week and there were 8 Canadians behind us. They never mentioned a word about it. And they were, like probably around my age, Heather's age, and said, we're here just to have fun. They didn't even mention anything with politics, which was great. They loved everything about
Good.
Nashville.
Will there be any polling just to kind of see where people are coming from for CMAs?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, they do
Okay.
that. Mhm. And we'll get those results.
CMA does it.
Uh-huh. CMA does.
Good questions. Bruce, great report.
Yeah. Thank you.
Keep up that good work, will you?
Lots of data always.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, CDC staff reports.
Sure, I'll jump in just to follow up on that. Even though that forecast is not as strong for international, Fortunately, we have 2 nonstop flights that are performing very well. Iceland just extended their season. It was supposed to end in October. It's now going to go through January, so that's a very good sign, very positive. And Aer Lingus is doing very well. We were trying to get a couple of travel writers and tour operators over here, and they don't even have seats for them. So they said they don't have enough seats on the flight to they hopefully will be adding to that at some point. So if we were choosing markets, those are 2 good ones that we were able to secure. On the domestic side, just like Bruce said, you can see it slowing down a little bit on leisure, and that's mainly due to personal finances. We have some new research that came in this morning. It was no surprise that patterns are shifting a little bit. People are going on fewer trips and not spending as much money or not staying as long, and we can start feeling that a little bit. And we are putting out some packages and some discounts and deals to try to attract those people. Doing more regional marketing, trying to get short-term, longer weekend visitation all around the region. So we've added more advertising to our budget to do that. On the long term, we are booking as many conventions and events as we can in the pipeline. Tourism sales and convention sales together will reach a goal of hitting the 2 million room nights mark this year, which is great. First time ever. It was on 2 million. I can remember when we were just trying to get to 1 million. We have big bids out for future business. We have bids out to 2041, which is always surprising to people. And you look at the growth that we've had in the market, the number of hotel rooms we've added, the number of restaurants, the number of bars, and we're still able, I know people are feeling that pinch, but we're still able to bring in more visitors, more money than ever before. It's just spread out more. So we'll continue to turn over every stone that we can to bring more visitors to town. Big events coming up this summer, which should help. Like Bruce mentioned, the CMA Fest doing well. FIFA World Cup Club Games, we have 4 of those. And then we have a good, strong lineup for July 4th, so we're looking forward to hopefully a very positive July.
Great. July 4th is Friday this year too. So
It is
that-
Friday,
Yeah,
so
that's
it'll be a
even
long
better.
weekend.
Yeah.
And then next year, it's the 250th, so we are already buying more fireworks and bigger drones and
Wow.
getting ready for that. It'll be very, very good.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Great report, thank you. Sales report, Adrian.
So to add to Dina's point, 2.13 million room nights is what we anticipate if all holds. Turning down diversity coordination and support of our hotel partners, so thank you in advance for your partnership on that front. These are groups that range from 10 room nights on peak to 10,000 room nights on peak, from multicultural in coordination with Marie, who's been a great resource on that front, to corporate, association, all various groups looking into the city. It varies so much by group, and we talked about the economic status of things right now. It really varies based on the nature of the group. Last week, the American Institute for Steel Technology came to the city and hosted over 8,000 attendees, which was a near record breaker. So it really depends on the nature of the group, but we continue to monitor any kinds of effects long-term regarding Canadian sentiment and international sentiment. We recently hosted events in Atlanta, San Francisco, as well as Dallas to connect and reconnect with our clients. On that front, Mike Parker and Kelly Archer, we took them on the road with us. Songwriters that performed for the group that were a huge hit, so we made some great connections in market at those events. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have regarding our efforts. But the future is bright for the convention market. Appreciate our partnerships with each of you to make that a reality.
I remember when we were talking about 1 million rooms. And
I know.
When was that?
When we were opening the center.
Okay, so
Yeah.
2011, 13, okay.
And tourism has been post-pandemic. Tourism sales has really been killing it, and works closely with Heather and the marketing team on that front. Apologies. But this will be a full convention recovery when compared to 2019 numbers. So post-pandemic, it'll be a full recovery on the convention market, which is really exciting. Again, it all holds, no economic pressure in terms of holding back on corporate Corporate spend is definitely a factor in all of this, so we're monitoring it very closely.
Is your small group team seeing a lot of short-term leads?
They're seeing still, you know, what's interesting, we saw a dip in leads by about 10 to 15%, starting about 4 weeks ago. Last week, we had a record-breaking lead week, where we averaged typically about 100 leads per week. Last week, we saw 152.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, that does signal on the short-term corporate side that there is, you know, some confidence coming back in the market, you know, in terms of spending. We continue to monitor that.
So no major cancellations or anything like
We're
that?
monitoring
Numbers not-
cancellations and pushing the hotel community really to keep communicating with us on that front. From what we've seen in the grand scope, citywide, there's not been a significant fall off, but again, we're only as good as the information that's forwarded to us in the hotel community.
And just monitoring the pickup.
I'd say we've been able to monitor about 8,000 room nights that have fallen off. However, it's more the government market that's pulling back, and those groups weren't necessarily definite. It's just new leads that they're holding on for now until there's some kind of additional direction given as to whether or not to move forward with those.
On their federal funding, it's
Exactly. Federal amendment.
Well, and I'm curious what the percentage, if you will, of our market is government.
Not much.
Not much.
Okay,
Because
Our
we
rates
have
are
been,
too high.
yeah, the rates are
Yeah.
too high.
Right.
Even with the adjusted per diem.
They are pretty
speaks to that. So that's another reason to be at a point where we're a little insulated
Okay.
from those issues, so that has been helpful on that.
And I mean, we see just in our special corporate travel that the government is declining.
It is, medical groups, medical is a huge vertical market for this city, so we are monitoring the effects of research pullback. And of course, a lot of speakers that come in are employed by the federal government as well for those programs, so that is something that we are monitoring.
great. Great report, thank you.
Ooh, what's that goal next year, 2.5? Wow.
She said that out loud.
She said they were already there.
No, we're not there yet. I anticipate it.
All right, marketing report, Heather, please.
Thank you. Things are busy on the marketing side. Hopefully you have all heard about Jenna Bush Hager with the Today Show coming to Nashville May 30th and 31st. This is a marketing program that we've been working on for over a year really with her team. And we've worked really hard to weave in some Nashville programming. Ann Patchett, of course, will be a part of that. And some music guests, Holly Williams, Blessing Offer, and we've been able to push them to take some songwriters as a part of their creative writing piece that they're talking about. So it's hosted at the W Hotel. We've had great coverage on the Today Show and through Jenna's socials, and also they're expecting about 400 to 500 people to come to the event. So it's a ticketed consumer-facing event in celebration of her book club.
It's great PR more than.
It's great PR.
Yeah. I saw it on the
We've
local
had-
news last night.
They
yeah.
did a local push, and they've done
Every day on the Today Show.
almost, yes, about every other day we've had something on the Today Show or on her socials, or on the Today Show's socials. So it's been a big coup for us on that front for sure. On the advertising side, our summer plans are moving forward. We have put more money into OTAs, trying to reach that lower funnel booking, and more money into the drive market to hopefully offset some of the soft weekends that we're feeling. We also have a New York Times content and advertising plan running, focusing on the neighborhoods. It's really to reach that higher household income that we know are still traveling. They haven't slowed down. So we have a push there. And then, of course, in support of our flights in the international market, we have advertising running in the UK, Ireland, the Nordic countries, France, Netherlands, and Germany, where we're really seeing a lot of pickup on those flights. And display ads and retargeting running there, as well as a partnership with Time Out across those countries. As Bruce mentioned, we've used that travel click data to look at weekends that are soft, and we've also targeted those weekends for events that are happening, and exhibitions, anything new that might drive people through focused social buys as well as some digital buys in those tight drive markets to help those soft weekends. And on the PR front, we have since January hosted 107 journalists in market in Nashville. So they have been very busy. 2 groups came over on the inaugural flights, Aer Lingus and Iceland Air, and then we have 1 more European group scheduled to come from Iceland Air in the next couple of months. So certainly the PR has been really strong. Any questions? Yeah.
Last year you did and maybe even the start of this year, I suppose, a co-op or like
Yes.
marketing within the hotel community.
Yep.
Is that going to plans for the back half of this year?
Yes, we will have a new co-op program starting July with the new fiscal year.
So when will that information will go out?
Yeah, it'll probably be at our, probably June,
June?
late June.
Marie, please, multicultural.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Just want to give you a quick update on the Music City Truck Climbers Program. As you remember, that's our diverse-owned small business cohort that we launched in January, and we are already more than halfway through the program. Just want to share that in addition to sessions on, branding and marketing, PR, sales, social media, et cetera, we have worked to give them some experiences where they can get out to community, network, and be educated. And a good example of that was the hospitality luncheon last week? Yeah, last week, where we had their session at the Music City Center. The team there took them on a tour. They had an opportunity to network with the hospitality industry. Maybe some of you were there as well. So we thank you for that. And speaking of thank you, in addition to, of course, the advisory board of the Music City Chart Climbers, the CBC's board, I want to personally thank again, publicly, Q1, thank you so much. You participated last week on the panel, the sales was the topic, which is a very important one. And then Dr. Brown, who's not here today, who has been very instrumental and supportive of the program as well. We did include in your packet a copy of the article from the Nashville Business Journal. You can look at that at your leisure. They did an article on each of the cohort members early April. And I just wanted to share a couple of comments with you, just to kind of give you a sentiment of how the cohort members feel about the program. One member said, "I've learned how collaborative and welcoming Nashville's hospitality community is. The program has opened my eyes to new opportunities, from strategic partnerships to innovative ways of engaging with our community and celebrating cultural diversity through food. I've also learned that my classmates are like family. We are a community that will always support each other as our businesses grow for years to come. I am so grateful to be surrounded by such passionate and inspiring people who are equally focused on growing their businesses and building lasting relationships." That was Warren with the Pepper Pot. And then Thomas Kelly with Creative Souls Printing said, 3 months into the Music City Chart Climbers program, I've gained a deeper appreciation for how Nashville's hospitality industry is built on creating unforgettable experiences for patrons. More than just hotels and restaurants, the industry thrives on immersive branding, personalized touches, and high-quality visuals that leave lasting impressions. I've learned that every detail contributes to the overall guest experience. Businesses in this space aren't just offering services, we're curating moments to define Nashville's reputation as a top destination. This program has also highlighted new opportunities for collaboration, whether through partnerships with event planners, boutique hotels, or entertainment venues, ensuring that every touch point of guest encounters reflects the quality, creativity, and uniqueness of Music City. So I just wanted to share that, and each of them gave their own personal testimony. Please go through that, and again, we're just really excited to have this cohort. Look forward to them finishing the program in August. Any questions? Will you do it again? Absolutely, yes.
We've learned as much as they have.
It definitely is a learning experience. This was an inaugural class, so yeah. And they've been giving us great feedback too. One of which is the sessions are too short. So they're really engaged. It's been really, really fun to watch them grow.
Awesome. Thank you for that report. I've had a chance to meet with 2 of the individuals, both Z and Tatanisha, and they're just having a great experience. And what really wonderful people they are.
They are, and they're go-getters,
Yeah.
they'll be successful.
Yeah, exciting. All right, our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, September 12th at 8:30. I do want to share that today, Brittany, we're celebrating your service to this group. We thank you very much. It's been, what, 3-4 years now? It seems like that. Yeah.
All together off and on.
Well, we appreciate your service, and we're hopeful that we've got 2 seats that will be renewed for June, I think. And Sherry Franklin was interviewed last week at the Council Rules and Confirmations meeting, as was Tom Ventrillo, who is the general manager at Gaylord, who will come in place of Brittany in the future. And if he doesn't show up, I know how to find him.
That's right.
All right, great. Any other business or announcements that anybody has they want to share?
I would just like to say congratulations to the team for the luncheon on last week.
Yes.
What a hit.
Yes.
Awarding Dolly. She wanted that award. She was like, let's show her my award, baby. Give it to me. But congratulations, that was a great luncheon on last week.
It was a great surprise that she actually attended. We
Yeah.
love that.
Good job.
Thank you.
Lisa, the only thing I'm seeing is September 11th being that Thursday. Is that right?
Is that the 12th on Metro website?
Make sure we're on the right page.
All right, let me just double check here. Thursday is the 11th. I think that's correct.
Okay, so it is
So it's the
11th.
11th.
So it's the 11th. We'll make that correction.
We'll get that corrected on the Metro website, that's where we pulled that from.
And on calendars, it's on the 11th on my calendar, so yes, yours as well. Okay,
Good catch.
very good, thank you. Good observation, thank you. All right, any other business or shout outs? Well, thank you again, team, keep up the great work.
Keep it going.
Keep it going, don't stop. 2.5 million, we have the faith.
Say it out loud.
Schools finish up, I think, next Thursday and Friday, so traffic should lighten up.
Yay! Yeah. All right, well, thank you, everybody. Meeting is adjourned. Do I need a motion? A motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, okay. All those in favor? Have a great day.
But she was hilarious.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.